Are we live? It looks like we're live. What's going on? Welcome back to Thursday Night Live. Top 5 baits coming through. We're going to talk about some fishing tonight. Give you guys a couple minutes to get gathered in. Be sure you drop a comment. Let me know when you're here. I'll be happy to see all of you tonight because it is an awesome Thursday. That's 2020. It's the first live stream of the year. I literally, listen, y'all know how I do this. I don't script nothing. Like when I go live, I'm going live and shooting from the hip, Jack. That's kind of how we roll around here. So I didn't even realize this was our first live stream of the year. I would have planned something a little more special, I guess you might say. But hey, Happy New Year. It's 2020. It's time to go catch some bass. I actually have not gotten a fish yet in 2020. It's driving me crazy. But some of you who have been paying attention probably know that we have been going on, we've had a lot going on with the Fish Life app. We just launched a community package where all of you guys can now participate, put your own spots on there, $7 a month, subscribe to a region, and get to see where everybody's fishing, help each other, share information with each other, and create this big giant community that's all about loving our fellow man and helping each other catch more and bigger fish. That's what we're going to do, and we've taken some steps to try and do it better than the competition has. I'm not going to get into all that. Not going to plug it. Just explaining to you why I haven't been fishing for the last 2 days. But that all ends tomorrow. I will be back on the water, and I will be back on the water again after that, and after that, and after that, and after that, and back to my old routine of doing what I love most, which is spending my days on the water. Bobby Eisenhood in the house. What it do? Jamming DJ Screw down in there in the HOU. Bobby Eisenhood, I see you, baby. Rob's World's in the house. Buzzy Gruen is in the house, our fishing musician. USMC Gunny. That must be my old buddy Gunny Boone, I believe. Terry Connerly's in the house. Marcus Fowler, Cody Mays, Grant Bell, Jared K, Big John, Tony Hollingsworth, Random Skills, Tom Bryant, The PB Dad, JG12, Justin Boyd, Jeremy Crochet. I said that right. Go Tigers for just till the national championship game. Go Tigers for my boy Zach Watts, Ronnie Green, Kyle, Randy Crabtree, Jack Attack, Justin Ives, and Todd Udi. All you boys in the house, man. Hey, appreciate you guys so much for joining us tonight. You know, we got to start 2020 off, and I am by no means a perfect man. I am a very flawed person like most of us are, and I'm no exception to that. I'm very flawed, and one of my biggest flaws is that I can't let things go very well. I do not do very good at leaving a fight unfought. Captain Ron in the house. I see you, David Thomas. Appreciate you guys. I just can't let a fight be. I can't leave a fight unfought. If I feel like there's something wrong or I feel like there's something needs to be said or done about something, I kind of have to do it. Like, I don't do very good at letting that stuff go. And if you guys watched the last live stream of 2019, I was at my buddy Zach Watts' house. He's my best friend on earth. He's like my brother from another mother. He is my brother from another. I call his dad Pop. So what's that tell you? Like, we're very, very close. We got more comments on that live stream than we've probably ever gotten on a live stream, and the vast majority of them were over a t-shirt that Zach was wearing. Zach was wearing a Donald Trump t-shirt. And I'm not here to force my political beliefs on anybody, but there was a lot of comments in there about something, you know, like I shouldn't be making a political statement or I shouldn't be making, and we didn't even discuss anything about politics. Zach just wore the t-shirt. So, just in case we have some of those people watching that were lighting us up in the comments about wearing a dang t-shirt last week, let me set the record straight right now. Here's your political statement from me. Billy Lawson's political stance is such. I don't care what you believe, and I don't care what I believe. It's your right to believe it. I believe in that right so much that I volunteered to risk my life to preserve your right to believe whatever stupid crap you want to believe. Because me personally, I think that if you believe that the last administration before this one was better than this somehow, then you're an absolute freaking idiot. And you probably need to go seek some help or go back to school or do something. Think for yourself. I don't care. You want to threaten me telling me I'm going to lose sponsors? I don't care. I don't need sponsors. Guess what I do? I do my own work, take care of myself, provide for myself and my family on my own. I don't need you or sponsors or anybody else. So if you don't like the fact that I'll let anybody wear any t-shirt they want on my channel, you can kick rocks. I don't need you around this channel. I never cuss. But let me tell you something. If you want to force your political beliefs down my throat and try to restrict what I want to do or say, I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't cuss. You need to take your ass somewhere else. Period. This ain't the channel for you. Bye-bye. And any of my sponsors that don't like it, which I know there ain't none, 6 Cents, Smash Take, they stand behind everything I do. They know the quality person I am, and then I try to take care of others above myself every day of my life. That's what I do. That's what I believe in. And if you got a problem with that, I don't want you right here. Deuces. See ya. Now, woo! Start 2020 off with a bang. Let's go, baby. Hey, let's talk about some baits. And for the record, for those that might be listening and not like what I'm saying, I am not 100% Donald Trump fan. I think all the actions he's taken have been very good. I think he's done some great things for this country. I'm not one of those bang the drum for Trump guys. I don't like the way he handles a lot of things. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with restricting political beliefs or statements in any way. In fact, I'm not a guy that has a big issue with people creating a political statement at a football game. I think it's stupid, but I've known there was dumb people playing football for a long time, so it doesn't really bother me. But they have a right to a peaceful protest. That's what I believe in. Just my deal. That's it. We're done talking politics. Here we go. Let's get into some baits. Now, as far as the patterns going on, the patterns that are going on right now are really not changing much. We have very stable weather. That's a good thing. That's a good thing because what that does is that allows us to target consistent patterns week to week and allows us to really dial in on specific areas of lakes and such things as that. Anytime the weather changes, it always makes the fish change. Well, when the water temps change and those type of things, when the water temps, water colors, those type of things change, it changes the fish and makes it have to adjust constantly week to week. Be honest with you, the last 2 or 3 weeks, we really haven't had too much adjusting to worry about. The temps kind of got to a low point, lower 50s or something like that, and they've kind of stabilized in that area. They're really not moving much. So what that does is set the fish up where we can kind of be predictable. The same baits that have been working are working. The jerk bait, the jig, you can go up shallow, grind out a few bites up shallow if you want to on some moving baits, getting some reaction bites. Everything we've talked about over the last 2 weeks, nothing's changed. So guys, for this weekend, go out there and do that. But what I wanted to do tonight was kind of a special. I guess I didn't even know it was the first one of 2020, but we're doing a special top 5 baits tonight. And what we're going to do is talk about some new baits, some new inventory on baits, some new baits that are now available to you in mass quantities via 6 Cents Fishing, because they have just loaded up their inventory with all kinds of plastics and just some unbelievable baits that are going to be, like, you need to go get some right now. Like, you need to go get them right now. So let's talk about that. The clout stick bait. When this bait first came out, I was lucky to be one of the first ones to have it. Only in a few colors. There weren't very many colors available, so we had to deal with what we had. Now the full line of colors is available, and like everything 6 Cents does, the fit and finish on all their baits is unbelievable, and the colors in their plastic line is certainly no exception. So first thing we're going to talk about is this little stick bait, because I've caught a million fish on this bait already when it was in the prototype phase and when it was in the initial release phase. This bait right here is called Electric Shiner. Got a little pearl with some iridescent type flakes on it, and then watermelon seed on top. That is a great color. You will see this color in another bait that I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. But as you can see, just amazing looking colors on these baits. And stick bait is a stick bait until it's not a stick bait, because there are certain stick baits that get bit more than others. And this one right here gets bit as much or more than any stick bait I've ever put in my hands. That includes a Yamamoto. I used to like Yum Dingers quite a bit and Yamamoto. Cinco's a lot. This one gets bit as much or more in all of them. This is another color called Worm Juice. Got a little bit of kind of a pumpkin seed or brown bottom with a watermelon top with some flake mixed in. Just a great brim or bluegill color. That's going to kill them in the spring right there. They've got the full colors in the Stroker Crawl. You guys, if you watch the channel, have heard me say that the Stroker Crawl is the best jig trailer I've ever used. And I'm standing by that, and I'll continue to stand by that. I really believe that. And this might be my favorite color out of all their plastics that they've created. They nailed this color so dead on. I like a light green pumpkin or a heavy watermelon seed with a little bit of a gold flake to it. Well, this is called Green Pumpkin Burst. And this is exactly what that is. It's either a heavy watermelon seed or a light green pumpkin. It's kind of in between, which is perfect to me. That's what I like. And it has some gold and silver flake in it. Green Pumpkin Burst in the Stroker Crawl. You tear these little appendages off right here. Gives it a good swimming action. It folds up like a crawfish when it sits still, but when you move it, it kicks. It's a great, unbelievably. Just found out a man named Philip Jones is the one that designed this bait. Philip, I don't know you. We've never met, but you my homie, because this is a banger right here, dude. This one right here catches them, Jack. So get you some Stroker Crawls. Let's see what else. The straight tail worms, the Divine Shaky Head worm is now available in the full color line as well. I apologize for all the package noise you guys are hearing. One thing also, 6th Sense does everything first class, right? All their plastics are coming in clamshells except for the stick base. All of them in clamshells, keeping everything perfectly straight, not letting your plastics get all messed up, right? This is a watermelon candy color, which is a standard color, but this is the Divine Shaky Head worm. I'm going to wacky rig this bait a lot. I'm going to throw it on shaky heads a lot. You can even drop shot this bait. I know, that's a curse word around here, but you can drop shot this bait. If I was going to drop shot, this is the kind of drop shot bait I'm going to use. I'm going to use a big drop shot bait. Watermelon candy, another great color in the straight tail worm. Those are all fully available now as well, of course. One more bait to tell you guys about. We kind of talked about it on Tuesday before we announced the app deal. This little swim bait, the Devon swim bait, just go get it. This is electric shiner. I love this color. Same color I showed you on stick bait. It's got the grayish silverish color with the flake on the bottom. It's got the watermelon seed top. Great color right there. This thing right here, you want this bait. I'm just telling you. Actually, I don't care. Don't buy it. That way I'll be one of the few ones throwing it, and then I'll catch more. So that's good too. Now, we've talked a lot about the red jerkbait. It's called ditchweed. We're calling it, courtesy of Captain Ron, came up with this name. We're going to call it Bloody Mary is the jerkbait, the red jerkbait. That's what we've nicknamed it. I want to show you guys a shad pattern that I'm throwing right now. Like if I'm going out tomorrow to throw a jerkbait and I want to throw a shad pattern, this is the one I'm throwing. And I'm terrible about knowing the official names on these. It's kind of a translucent color, but it's got that purple top and a little bit of yellow or chartreuse on the bottom. Man, I've already been catching fish on this jerkbait. This is a great, great, great jerkbait. Amazing paint job as always from 6th Sense Fishing. .com. Hey, and when you go over to 6thsensefishing.com, be sure that when you order something, punch in the discount code, Your Lake Fork Guide. Get that 10% discount on anything you order. Just a little thank you. Just a little smidgen of the thanks that I owe each and every one of you. So punch in that code when you get there, man. All right, that is our bait features for tonight. Let's get to some questions. Price on the swim baits? Yes, $4.99 per. You get them in a 6-pack. For 2 of the sizes, the smallest sizes, you get them in a 7-pack, and it's $4.99. So a very, very good price on all the plastics. Here we go. People saying they love the color, love the color, love the color. Just call it the power shot. Well, I like to call that, when we start drop shotting these things like this right here, that's what I call, we drop shot these on 15-pound line on like 3-aught EWG hooks. That's called the Texas drop shot. That's what I've always called it. So hopefully you approve. How long is it? That worm, that straight tail worm right there is a 7-inch. It also comes in a 6.3 right now, and I think there's another size coming soon. But this right here is the 7-inch. And then there's people responding to the, Captain Ron says, if you're getting political advice from a fishing guide, you're already screwed. That is true, because here's the deal. I don't know much of what's going on in the world, because what I do is I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to go fishing, and I'm going to come home at night and I'm going to post about what we did fishing or create some new content for you guys. And then I'm going to go fishing in the morning again. So I don't know. What size of hook are you putting the Devon swimmer? The Devon swim bait we're using on that, which is the 4.4 size. They come in a 4.4, a 3.8, and a 3.3. On the 4.4 and 3.8, I'm going to use a 5-aught owner flashy swimmer hook, or just a regular owner belly weighted hook. On the 3.3, I'll use a 3-aught. Toni Hawkins is just creating, up in the comment count. We appreciate you. Toni Hawkins saying, hey, Toni Hawkins. The more times you comment, the more times this gets seen. So I appreciate that, buddy. So no comments about Ben's video yesterday. No, I'm not. I've seen a couple of y'all asking about that. If I'm being honest, that puts me in a weird place. It puts me in a weird place. I have relationships on both sides of that deal. I don't want to say what I believe. Golly. You're testing me. I want to say what I believe, I feel like there's some respect owed for some things that have taken place in the past that are very personal. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus because there's been some things that have been done to make me feel like maybe I ought to owe them guys a little bit of respect. It ain't right. It ain't right. Ben has a point. That's all I'm going to say about it. Ben has a very valid point. And I'm not happy about it, but I'm taking the high road because I have some history there. That's what it is. Do I ever throw the Devon on an underspin? If so, what gear, rod, reel, and line? Yeah, we've got some. You're going to see some content in the next week. Speaking of, we had the big trip last week with me and Ben Milliken and Luke Duncan and Darian is fishing and some of the guys that work at 6 Cents. Captain Ron was there for one of the days. So we have all this content coming next week from all those days we fished together. That will all be dropping. And in that content, you will see me throw. The reason all these are missing is because we done used a couple packs of them, and this is all that's left of this pack right here. But you'll see me throwing that. I was throwing that on the 5/0 owner flashy swimmer. The weedless underspin hook is what I was throwing on. I also will throw that on a jig head or a underspin jig head, the Devon underspin jig head. I would throw that on the 3/8 ounce underspin if I was going to throw it on an underspin, maybe an 1/8 ounce, depending on how slow and how shallow I needed to keep it. Either one of those will be fine with that top hook design. You know, if you're just going to fish really heavy cover like we do sometimes, that top hook can create some challenges. How do I catch fish in the winter? Well, all the ways that I show. I mean, if you watch this channel, you'll see it every week how we catch fish in the winter. There's a lot of different ways to catch fish in the winter, ain't no doubt. What's the thoughts on the GoPro Hero 8? You know, I really don't have thoughts on it. I have had 5s for a while. I do have some 7s that I bought in the last year. And I bought those 7s, and, like, of course, the way it happens, like, a couple months later, they announced the release of the GoPro 8. That's the way it always goes. But, yeah. Am I still using the old jackhammer? If so, what color and trailer? Yes, I'm using the jackhammer. I'm using the B-Height Delight 3/8 ounce jackhammer primarily on power plant lakes. I'm using a swim bait type trailer. I'm using the Smash Tail Junior, and now just for the first time I started throwing this on there as well. It works great as a chatterbait trailer as well. I am throwing that bait. Now, on cold water lakes, I'm going to a white jackhammer, and I'm throwing a white Live Magic Shad is what I'm throwing. Lake Fork Tackle Live Magic Shad. Z-Dub's in the house. Z-Dub, I know you just joined us. You missed my great rant. I went off on those guys that were commenting on your t-shirt last week, and I let them know exactly what we believe in. So, that's that. Toni Hawkins is new to the channel. Man, we appreciate you joining us, dude. Thanks so much. 6 Mile Outdoors says he's late. What's up, man? Not much going on. We just talking fishing, dog. On the jackhammer, have you tried or had any luck on the new colors, Golden Shiner or Fire Crawl? So I am the worst person. I'm the worst person to ask about colors. I'm a really simple guy on colors. I don't get real elaborate with my color experience. My jackhammers that I throw a white or a like gray shad, silver shad looking one, just a white, basically shad pattern. I throw B-Height Delight, which is chartreuse and white on the bottom, green pumpkin on the top, and I throw black and blue. And that's it. That's the only colors I throw. I just don't really experiment a whole lot with color. I really don't. What will I fish tomorrow? Tomorrow, we are going to Lake Welch. With the conditions, I'm kind of in between. We're either going to be flipping the grass or we're going to be throwing swim baits and chatterbaits over the scattered grass on the outside edge. Probably mix in a little sight fishing if tomorrow's customer wants to do that. That's going to depend on him. Some people like sight fishing. Some people take it or leave it. So I always do whatever the customer wants to do in that case. But yeah, that's the plan for tomorrow. So we'll be throwing a chatterbait, a swim bait, and scattered grass. We will be punching matted vegetation possibly, and we'll be sight fishing. May even pick up a frog or topwater of various sorts tomorrow because there are some fish dirt shallow spawning on Lake Welch right now, and topwater is sure enough a fun way to get them when they're that shallow. Does braid cut into your rod guides, and also what braid line do you use, and do you switch brand with each type line. I use a few different types of line. You know, one of the things as a fishing guy that you'll realize is you go through a ton of line. You go through a ton of line. So really, cost efficiency and durability and cost efficiency is of key importance for fishing line as a fishing guide. Now, these aren't always the best lines, but there's my braid right there. Power Pro 50-pound braid. I use that on a lot of stuff. That's the kind I use. And as you can see, we buy big spools. We buy them big spools because we use a bunch of line. I've always used Power Pro. I've never really had issues with it. It's done me right. This is a 15-pound spool, but this is the fluorocarbon I use. Seaguar Red Label. Seaguar Red Label does have a little more memory than a lot of other fluorocarbon lines, but it's a cheaper fluorocarbon line and it's tough as nails. Seaguar is a very strong abrasion resistance line. And then on mono, I just use, if I got a mono in here, the old Big Game. Berkeley Trilene Big Game. So that's basically the 3 brand type of lines that I use. And of course I use various sizes. Jodan says, you know dang well you're going to go sight fishing. Yeah, that's probably true. If I have anything to say about it, we will be sight fishing, no doubt about it. Mono or fluoro? You know, mono I don't use for a lot of techniques. I use mono for treble hooked topwaters, Zara spooks, poppers. I'll use mono for that. I like using mono for a jerkbait. No, I don't either. I have used mono for jerkbait. If I'm fishing a jerkbait really shallow, I'll use mono for a jerkbait. But this time of year, I want to use fluorocarbon on my jerkbait. I want to use 12 or 15-pound fluorocarbon on my jerkbaits right now. Really, the only thing I use mono for pretty much is treble hook topwaters, the smaller treble hook topwaters. And then also, I'll use big mono on big treble hook swim baits. So if I'm throwing big glide baits, big heavy baits that weigh 3, 4, 5 ounces, I will use like 25-pound monofilament line, and that stretch helps absorb the shock of throwing that heavy bait all day, and it helps your knot last longer because that stretch absorbs a lot of that shock when you're flinging that big giant bait out there. Did I get the new wake bait to test? Yes, absolutely, and it is ridiculous. I don't think it's on the market yet, but it catches them. It's very good. That's another Philip Jones creation from what I understand. Josh Tuen, I appreciate that comment very much. Thank you, sir. Billy, do you use any kind of scent spray? I have, you know, I don't always, and I don't know, I probably should more often than I do now. I used to use it pretty adamantly. And what I used was just bang garlic. I'm not worried about making my bait smell like a crawfish. I'm not worried about making my bait smell like a shad. Maybe there's an advantage to that. I don't know. It's never been something I really believed in. My deal with that is I'm not worried about trying to make the fish think it smells good. Like, fish don't eat Italian food, but they bite things that have garlic scent on them all the time. The deal is I'm just trying to cover up my own scent when I'm using scent. But I will, you know, on plastics, especially like these type of plastics when I'm wacky rigging them or throwing them on a shaky head, something where I'm moving the bait real slow and letting the fish look at it for a long time, then I do like to use a little bit of bang garlic scent. Or if you're dipping the tail, then the spike, it kind of takes care of that because it has garlic scent to it as well. When is the new bug coming? The new FXR, I've got a custom ordered. I'm talking about juiced up and towed down on that flip, making that round type of boat coming. I've got a bad boat coming. It's everything the way I want it. If I had all the money in the world, it's the boat I would have. I got an FXR 20 coming. It will be here at the end of this month. I've been told 3rd to 4th week of January. So right at the end of this month, we do have a new boat coming, boys, and it is a banger. Water temp at Lake Fork, low 50s. Low 50s. It's very independent on the day. What do I think of Pline Floor Clear? Pline lost my business years ago, and Pline probably makes a good product. I used Pline for a while. I used their 100% fluorocarbon and their floor clear. I used both back in the day. Until I ordered some spools from Tackle Warehouse. They got in, changed my line out the night before a tournament, went out the next morning, and my first 3 hook sets when I was flipping, I got broke off on all 3 of them to the point where, like, I set the hook and then it broke and the fish jumped with a bait in its mouth. So I saw all 3 of the fish plain as day. Those 3 fish would have won that tournament for me. They ended up coming in 2nd or 3rd. But after those first 3 hook sets, I changed reels. Like, I had to get that out of there because I just got a bad spool of line from Pline and I've never gone back. So That's what happened to me on Pline. It created a bad taste in my mouth, and I just can't go back. Man, you guys are rocking it on the questions tonight, man. I appreciate it. Is February a good pre-spawn time for Lake Fork? Yeah. Oh, yeah. February is a very, very good pre-spawn time on Lake Fork. It's like the peak of the pre-spawn. And, you know, a lot of it depends on the weather you get. Like, literally the best days of the year, average fish and numbers-wise, kind of happen in February most times. Like, your biggest best 5 bags come in February a lot. If you get the right warming trend, it is the most unbelievable fishing. You'll pull up into a flat and just go to catching 5 and 6 pounders left and right, and it's unbelievable. You get the raw and cold front day, it can be real tough. So there's kind of a little bit of both, but yeah, it's 100% the peak of the pre-spawn on Lake Fork is in February. Weather conditions can really change what happens, but most days we're catching some good fish in February. Jared K, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you. How do I like the Skeeter Head right now? I love this boat. I love this boat. The problem is I put too many dang hours on them, so I got to get rid of them pretty quick, or they just start losing so much value. I get so far upside down on them, I'll be in a hole I can't get out of. So I love that boat. That boat is an amazing boat. In fact, it'll be for sale at Nautical Mile whenever I pick my new one up. This boat will be for sale. So if you're interested in this boat, if you want to buy this boat, you can DM me right now, and I can get the sale all prearranged, and you can pick it up here in a few weeks. If you're interested in that, we can work something out and get the price right for you and all that. So that boat right there, it's a bad dude. It ain't let me down not one time. It's an unbelievable boat. What kind of line should I use on an A-rig? A couple schools of thought. You know, you can use braid on them, especially if you're fishing in open water. Using braid is fine. People like to use braid in case they get hung up, they can just bend the hooks out. You can also do that if you put the right hooks on there with 20-pound fluorocarbon or mono. I like to throw my A-rigs just like my big glide baits on big mono. That's what I prefer to throw on, like 25-pound big game. That's what I do. What's a good A-rig rod? The 6th Sense Lux Series 8-foot heavy is my A-rig rod that I use. I'm sure you already had guide trips booked before the Bass Pro Tour and the Elite Series events were announced. Do you just fish around them? I did. I do. I have guide trips booked for those dates. Fortunately for me, I've reached a point where, you know, I book a lot of days and I pretty much stay full, and I can kind of take the days off I want to. So I'm scheduling weekends off this spring so I can coach my kids in soccer again, which thank you guys for allowing me to do that and booking enough trips where I can afford to do that. So I really owe that to y'all. Thank you very much. So I don't have the dates booked over the weekend, but the first couple days of the tournament or whatever, I will be out there. I dealt with this last year when the Elite Series was here. I'm going to talk to the people that are coming. At the end of the day, I have to do what's right by my customer. That's what it's all about. It's all about you guys that are booking trips. It is y'all's day, and I want you to have the day that you want. But if they're open to it, we have some other lakes around here that do have really big fish in them, that fish really well that time of year. Obviously in the springtime, it's going to fish really well. And so I will offer that option and see what their thoughts are, what their belief system dictates them to do. If we have to, we'll go out there. We'll be respectful of those guys. I'll keep my distance, but we're going to fish our water. We're going to fish where we're going to fish, and we're going to treat it. We're going to treat that Elite Series guy just like we treat Joe Blow on Lake Fork. We're going to give him the same respect we try to give everybody. So we try to do things the right way. I try to do things the right way to the best of my ability every day. I'm not great at it. I make a lot of mistakes, but you just kind of handle it the way it is. Those guys know. They run into that everywhere they go. All these big-name fisheries they go on tour, there's guides on every one of them. Like, it's not something they're not used to dealing with. Some of them deal with it better than others, so I do know that after last year. I will tell you, Drew Benton had a top 10 finish on the Elite Series in May, and there was some sight fishing still happening in May, and it was a weird deal because there were some small pockets in an area holding some really good bedfish, and I was fishing in there with my customers. And there was 2 days of that tournament where we were very much sharing a lot of the same water, and he was great. Drew Benton was great. He never got frustrated with me. I tried to communicate with him and stay out of his way as much as I could. And you know, he went in there and did his thing and got a top 10 finish in an Elite Series event. So congratulations to him for that. That was awesome. It was really cool to see some of those key fish get caught in person while I was there with my customers, and we were catching good ones too. We had a big day, actually. The one day they took off in the middle of that tournament, and we had free run of all those areas without Drew being in there, we kind of whacked him. We caught up about a 30-pound bag that day. So it was very cool. Kudos to Drew Benton. That dude, from my interaction with him, you know, you don't know much about someone for a few minutes per day on the water, but from best I can tell, Drew Benton is an absolutely awesome stand-up guy that does things the right way, and I really appreciated him being able to allow me to do my job in there that day and not get upset about it. It was very, very nice of him. So, and that's how most of those guys are. Lane Seaman's in the house. We appreciate you, bud. Any tips for Kentucky Lake in April? No, I've never fished Kentucky Lake. I don't know anything about Kentucky Lake. So, April, I mean, they got to be spawning, right? Like, they got to be. I would think find the clean water, the hard bottom, and go looking for bedding fish. Here's the good thing. Now the Fish Life app is available anywhere in the country. So hopefully some of you guys that are living in the Tennessee area that fish Kentucky Lake will throw some information on there and help each other out. That's the deal. That's the whole goal of this community version of the Fish Life app, is to create more detailed, more current information, because our spots are only going to live for 60 days. We're not going to have old info on there ever. We're going to make sure that every spot that goes on there is a public water legit information spot that people are uploading. We won't approve it if it doesn't, and nothing will show up on the app until we approve it. So we're going to put the labor in on the back end to make sure the information is correct, and that's how we're going to make ours better than the rest of the apps out there. But hopefully there'll be some stuff on Kentucky Lake for you to look at on the Fish Life app community package in that region, and it's only $7 a month. So man, that would be my advice, I guess. Mono for flutter spoons. Yeah, I do throw mono on flutter spoons. That's true. I do throw mono. And I throw even a big flutter spoon. I'll throw it on a lot lighter action rod and just have to lob cast it. Flutter spoon's the hardest bait out there to land it on. You know, I would never, ever, 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 ever try to say that I should be telling Chris Aldan how to fish anything. Because Chris Aldan's one of the best fishermen of our generation. He's one of the best on earth right now. He's been one of the best for a long time. He is one of my heroes in the sport. So I would never want to presume that I know anything better than he does. In my personal opinion, that tournament that he lost on Guntersville because some fish kept coming unbuttoned, if he would have had a lighter rod and some monofilament line and had a little more stretch, he wouldn't have been so quick to pull them fish to the surface, and he might have landed one or two key fish that could have won that tournament for him. So I was taught that the hard way by losing a lot of fish, and then having the guy that invented the flutter spoon preach to me about how I was doing it wrong. And finally, when I took his advice, it made a huge difference for me. The deal is you just can't pull them. Like, you kind of pull into the hook set, you really bear that hook in and dig that hook in, and then you just got to let them swim. And as long as you're keeping your line tight, try to purposefully not pull them up. That's the deal with a flutter spoon. Fish Life did me right on fork today. John Dendi, speaking of that, we just updated those spots last night. John, you were one of the first ones to use the new, freshly updated spots that we just updated yesterday. And apparently it did really good for you. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I would love to see some pictures, man. Send those pictures to us through DM on Instagram or text them to 903-519-1542. You can find that phone number on my website, on my Facebook page, everywhere. You can find that phone number. So we would love to see some pictures of the fish you caught. If you got any good ones today, send it in, bud. Is there average wait time generally a week to 10 days for boat and motor repair? Well, it depends on what happened. Like, how much do you have to order parts? Do they have parts on hand? Like, all this can change. I can tell you this. These guys right here, I know it's backwards, but this is Nautical Mile Marine down there in Tyler, Texas. Nautical Mile Marine is a Skeeter dealer. They're a certified Yamaha shop, but they can work on anything. Mr. Joe, the guy that runs the service department, is the best customer service boat mechanic I've ever dealt with in my life. And he really prides himself on trying to get everybody in and out the same day. So if he has the parts on hand, he's going to tell you when to bring your boat in, and you're going to bring it in, drop it off, and you're going to pick it up that day. That's how they do things. Nautical Mile is unbelievable. If you need service done on your boat, go see them, and they're going to put you out faster than just about anybody else will. Yeah, that is true. Nautical Mile won't be open till Tuesday. They always take time off between Christmas and New Year's and shut down. So you'll have to wait till Tuesday to talk to them. All right. I know I missed some questions because there's like a million of you guys in here tonight. And y'all been pumping the questions, and I appreciate it. If Palestine... Jodan, you take that comment down right now, Jodan. If Palestine ends up on the app, he's going to put my top secret like I don't tell nobody about on there. I'm not in control anymore, Jodan. You got to blame the people for whatever happens at this point. How do you go... Oh, what's happening here? I lost something. Okay, here we go. How do you go about purchasing your Skeeter? Did you purchase cash or finance? Well, my deal's a little unique. I'll just say that. My deal's a little unique. I deal with Nautical Mile, and I get a new boat every year, and I do. It's financed. It's financed. I don't purchase it with cash. That's for sure. I'm a fishing guy, bro. I can't buy no brand new Skeeter with cash. But they help me out. They help me out. We'll just say that. They take good care of me, and I do my best to take care of them. They're an unbelievable boat dealer. And they take care of a lot of customers. I would highly suggest checking it out with them if you need one. Is my PB... No, my personal best is not a secret. My personal best is not a secret. I don't catch a lot of the big, giant fish that get caught in my boat because I'm always trying to make the customers catch them. But I do have a few double digits to my name. My personal best is a 10-pound, 6-ounce fish. That we did document on camera, which was really cool, really cool. Personal best as far as customers, like my biggest customer fish was actually caught this year. It was a 12-pound, 13-ounce fish. We've had a few over 12 over the years, but that was the biggest one. 3 ounces short of a teen. Man, I want to get that. I want to get that teen number behind me someday. That's a big deal. I want to do that. There's not everybody has done that. Even amongst the fishing guides, even amongst the greatest fishing guides on that lake, there's a lot of them that don't have a teen in their repertoire, their wall of trophies or whatever. So I really, really, really want to get a teen. Favorite February bait for biggins. Whew. You killing me now. Boy, this could go a lot of ways. You know, it's whichever one they're biting the best. That's what it is. But a lipless crankbait has probably done me better over the years than anything else in February. Lipless crankbait's probably caught more fish for me and caught some really big fish for me in February over the years. A jig, a black and blue jig, is really hard to argue against for big fish. And then a jerkbait, like this dude right here. That sucker right there will catch some giants in February at all these lakes around here, especially Lake Fork. So can I give you 3, please? Because it's going to depend on conditions and the day and the trend and all that. But let me give you 3. Lipless crankbait in a crawfish pattern, black and blue half-ounce flipping jig, and a jerkbait in a shad pattern. That would be my 3 all-time big fish baits for February on Fork. If your customer catches a teenager bass in your boat, will you call the Share Lunker program in Athens? I would, but at the end of the day, it's the customer's fish. It's up to them. Everything I do in my boat, when it's a customer in the boat, it's about them. Whatever they want to do is what I want to do. I will tell you this. If I catch one during the spawning season, it's going right back in. I have a couple policies that I have in place for in case we ever catch a 13-pounder in my boat or a customer catches one with me. First one is, if you catch a 13-pounder in my boat, the trip is free. That's the deal. Because that's it. You earned it, man. You catch a 13-pounder in my boat with me, you get a free trip out of it. The other one is, if it's spawning time and it's a possibility that fish was on or near a bed, she's going back in the lake. We're not taking her to the marina. We're not getting official weights. We're not turning her in. If it's around spawning time, they're going back to that bed. I want them fish in Lake Fork. I want all 50-something thousand of them eggs in Lake Fork. That's just, they might get mad at me. They might not ever come back, but I'm doing that. Do you participate in bass, cash bash? No, I don't. It's a personal decision. There are guides that do it. They let guides do it. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right at all. We get to go out there every single day. I know, and I'm not going to say his name, so don't ask me, but I know of a guide that went out and won one of the months last year. And, well, I guess that man just gave it away, but oh well. He went. There was a bedfish that got caught by another guide. Another guide's customer caught this bedfish, and it was 12 pounds. And he went to that bed. He knew where that fish got caught. He knew exactly where the bed was. Probably saw him catch it. He went to that bed the next morning and couldn't see because it was cloudy. But he sat there and blind flipped to that bed over and over and over again for like hours at a time till he caught that fish, took it where it was all the way over to the dang Pope's Landing, Pope's Marina, whatever it's called, like, which was way across the lake from where he caught it. So he takes a trophy fish, runs it all over the lake, goes over there and weighs it in so he can win the monthly check for Bash Cash Bass. You tell me how that's fair to the dudes that are signing up for that thing and fishing on the weekends. He watched another guy's customer catch it. Then he goes in there and front ends his customers that morning, makes them sit still for hours at a time and catch nothing while he catches a giant fish, a fish of a lifetime for these people right in front of them on purpose, and then goes and gets the check for the month. No, I don't participate in Bash Cash Bash. I don't think it's really fair for us that are out there every single day to sign up for a tournament that's meant for weekend anglers. And it's a like ongoing deal. That's not cool. So I don't do it. Somebody's asking about my take on the 6-inch hard bait. You know, I touched on it the best way I could. It's a touchy situation for me, and I'm not going to go into it again. I appreciate you asking that. I don't want to be rude to you at all. I appreciate every one of you. You know I do. But that is an awkward situation for me at best, and it just is what it is. Lucky Strike Outdoors, what's going on, big dog? Appreciate you joining us. You guys are rocking the house tonight. Holy cow, we've gone for a long time tonight. Am I fishing the jerkbait around docks right now? If the dock is in the right spot. So we've had this discussion a few times over the years on this channel. I don't go, especially on Lake Fork. Lakes that have a lot of flooded timber, which all these East Texas lakes up here in Northeast Texas pretty much have a lot of timber on them. I don't go seeking out docks. What I do is when there is a dock on a piece of structure, a piece of bottom content, a bottom content feature that I like for that time of year, then I'll fish the dock that's there. So I will fish a jerkbait around a dock if it's on. Like right now, you know, secondary points inside the Mousa Creeks are where I'm throwing the jerkbait the most. That's where I want to fish a jerkbait right now. I'm not just going to go down a line of docks and fish a jerkbait. That's not what I'm doing. When's the next podcast? The next podcast will air tomorrow. We had a little bit of audio issues because where we were filming it, we were outside. Where we recorded the podcast, we were outside on a patio. It was when I was on this trip with all the guys. But we have Captain Ron on this podcast. We have Luke Duncan on the podcast. Oh, Luke Duncan. That boy, I'm talking about that son. He's country with a K, son. That old boy, he's got some twang in him, and I love Luke Duncan. Luke Duncan is one of my favorite people I've ever met on earth. That guy is awesome. But yeah, we had Luke Duncan and Ronnie Kelly as special guests on the podcast. We had a rainstorm blow through while we were filming it. We were under a tin roof, so some of the audio gets a little sketchy for a little while, but it passes fairly quickly, and the rest of the audio is great. So bear with us on that. Apologize for that, but it will be published tomorrow. What's the best barbecue in the Fork area? Whew, that's a great question. Oak Ridge Marina, it's off menu. It's off menu now. But Oak Ridge Marina has a brisket plate and a brisket sandwich at lunch that is, their brisket is unbelievable. I've probably eaten 100 brisket plates from Oak Ridge Marina this year. That's really, really good. The ribs over at Lake Fork Marina, when they cook those, when you walk into Tiffany's at Lake Fork Marina, if you see that old smoker going out front, they got some ribs going, you need to get you some of that. But the best barbecue in the area is in Tyler, and it's what's that place called in Tyler? I'm having a brain cramp right now, boys. I apologize. It's like, y'all ever do that when it's like right on the tip of your tongue, you can't say it? It's killing me. Somebody tell me that great barbecue place in Tyler. Stanley's. Thank you, Todd. That's the one. Stanley's Barbecue in Tyler, right there by the hospital area. That place is, son. That's the best in East Texas in my personal, humble, but expert opinion. All right, boys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it on up, man. Hey, this has been an awesome live stream tonight. We went about 15 minutes longer than we normally do, and I could sit here and go all night, but I do have to get ready for my trip tomorrow. I do have to get the podcast uploaded and get ready to publish that in the morning before I bail out of here. So, thank you. Thank each and every one of you so much. I just can't ever say it enough. Go check out 6 Sense Fishing. Check out all those new baits we were talking about. Go get you some plastics ordered. Punch in the code Your Lake Fork Guide. Get your 10% discount. And if you need anything from us, just let us know. Go check out the new Fish Life community package. Go in there and add some spots on there, man. Let's start building this community app deal up, man. Let's create the greatest place that has ever existed for helping each other catch more and bigger fish. Thank y'all very much. We'll see you next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide.